Down on Tyrone Bowman Live. Welcome to the program, everybody. As we're getting started, I'd like to offer a disclaimer because I'm going to read a very provocative article. And there may be some things in this article that is not appropriate nor acceptable for young people, children to see or hear. Now, having said that, let me just say this. I don't make content that people would consider to be friendly oriented. I don't make content for children. This is a very serious channel, and I deal with serious issues on this channel. And there are times when I am extremely emotional about the topics that I talk about, because that's just who I am. I'm very passionate about the things that I read and cover and talk about. Hey, what's happening? What's happening, bad dude? Welcome to the program. Why is the Heritage Foundation leader apologizing for backing Tucker Carlson's interview with the white nationalist? It's complexing here. The MAGA Republican Party is trying to rebrand itself as being a more compassionate, conservative party after its humiliating defeat across the country on Monday. But it's not going to work, and I'll tell you why. Because they've already played their hand. The government shutdown is continuing to be ongoing with no end in sight. Individuals are angry and upset about so many things, but I'll talk about that later. But right now, I want to talk about this article that was written for The Guardian by Rachel Lien Gang. I hope I pronounced her name right. And the headline reads, Heritage Foundation leader apologizes for backing Tucker Carlson's interview with white nationalist. Roberts, whose group pushed Project 2025, had defended ex-Fox News host talk with Nick Fuentes. Well, how about this? Wasn't it the Heritage Foundation that wrote an architecturally designed Project 2025? And people keep forgetting something, but once something happens and people know what it is, you can't really backtrack on it, how can you? The MAGA Republican Party has embraced racism, bigotry, Nazism, theology, philosophy. And it's clearly apparent that if the Republican candidates do not appeal to that particular audience, they're not going to get money, they're not going to get votes, they're going to be lashed with the tongue from their supporters. As long as everything that they say and do is hurting everyone else, the supporters really do not care. Just don't hurt us in the process. That's what's so disalarming with the governmental shutdown, because it is hurting the southern part of the nation more severely than the northern part. And with all that's going on in the country, all they can think about is retribution, and retaliation. Proposition 50 passed in California. Democrats are gearing up for the midterm 2026 election. Democrats, hear me and hear me well. Stop trying to play by the book. Throw all caution to the wind. Forget the rules of engagement. Be concerned about your constituents and talk about the issues that are important to them. Affordability, housing, healthcare. Talk about inflation. Talk about Medicaid, Medicare. Talk about the crisis of poverty that's going on in this nation. Talk about how millions and millions of people are being literally thrown out into the streets. They're homeless. Why? Because they've been fired from their jobs with no end in sight under the guise of fiscal responsibility. No, it's about greedy corporate CEOs who are billionaires keeping all the profits to themselves and their shareholders and making sure that their dividend portfolio is wonderful and padded. As long as they can get another mansion, another car, another house, and don't forget about the peccadillos that they engage in. That's what they are concerned about. They're not concerned about everyday people. Democrats, if you're going to take back the congressional house in November, keep your act together and stop playing with these people, because they're not playing with you. They're going for broke. They're reorganizing, just strategizing. They're going to try to find more ways to inflict more punishment upon people. The immigration crisis is going to be in full swing. And y'all haven't seen nothing yet, because they don't want to lose power. This is about maintaining power. It's not about helping people. It's not about caring and giving. Johnson has been appallingly silent when it comes to everyday people and their everyday care and their everyday issues. He'd rather play golf. He'd rather go to luncheons. He'd rather stand up there and smile before the camera and pretentiously try to make people believe that everything is all right when everything is not all right. And a lot of people are going to continue to come out in mass in the upcoming elections, and they're going to vote in their interests from now on. The days for people voting party interests, whether it's the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the Independent Party or the Socialist Party, those days are gone when individuals are pledging allegiance to a political party. People are concerned about, what are you going to do for us? If our vote is not going to help us, you're not going to get our vote. Now listen up, my Black brothers and sisters around the nation. Don't think that your voices don't matter. Don't think that your votes don't matter, because if they didn't matter, why are they continuously and consistently being engaged in gerrymandering and trying to stop you from going to vote? So what they want more of IDs and all this kind of stuff. Ask for all the identification you want. We'll produce it. It is your constitutional right to vote. Don't be intimidated. Don't be threatened. Don't be afraid. You have the right to vote your political conscience. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or not to vote for. And I'm going to tell you something. I said this last week, and I want to say it again this week. At some point in time, the Republican Party is going to get its act together, but this is not going to be the time. And they are going to nominate a Black person for the presidency of the United States of America. I don't know if it's going to be male or female, but they're going to do it. You know why? Because they want to maintain power. The Democrats have already done it. They're not going to do it anytime soon. But the Republicans are going to get the memo, the fax, the email, the text message, or whatever, the video message. They're going to come to their senses at some point in time. And they're going to nominate somebody Black, and that person is going to win. It wasn't going to be Early Sayers down in Virginia, who lost to become the governor in Virginia, because she doesn't fit their profile. They're going to look for a more centrist candidate, a more conservative candidate, a more quote unquote Christian-based candidate who can toe the line. Now let's get into this article. Quote, the leader of the conservative think tank behind Project 2025 apologized for supporting a white nationalist amid turmoil on the right over the midstreaming of extremist ideology, but is resisting calls to resign. That term, white nationalist, encompasses the philosophy and ideology under the guise of America First, racism, bigotry, and prejudice. That's what that means. But he did not call for the person to resign. Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, previously defended former Fox host Tucker Carlson, the heir to the Swanson fortune, for having Hitler fan Nick Fuentes on his podcast without pushing back on his white supremacist views. What else would you expect a white supremacist to talk about? White supremacy. Seriously? Why is Kevin Roberts so shocked that when he came on Tucker Carlson's podcast, that's what Nick Fuentes was going to be talking about? If you've seen Nick Fuentes in interviews and you've seen him on different platforms, he espouses everything white supremacy without any apologies whatsoever, and we really don't care. Because if a black podcaster had somebody on their program that was talking about anti-this or anti-that, you all know that there would have been cries coming out from every major news white organization in America and around the world. And you know it. And I know it as well. Tucker Carlson is unapologetic because that is his smug demeanor. In leaked footage of a Heritage town hall from Wednesday, staffers largely said Roberts' decision to align the think tank with Fuentes was a mistake. Quote, "I made a mistake and I let you down and I let down this institution, period, full stop," end quote, he told Heritage staff. He also claimed he didn't know much about Fuentes before he recorded a video. Let's pause right there. That is an outright lie. How would you not know about Fuentes? The whole nation knows about this man. We all know about him. It's no secret. He's not speaking behind closed doors with a silhouette facade in front of him. He's speaking very plainly in broad daylight under the great microscopic lens of cameras, straight pointedly to raise money to stir up that part of the region and to recruit and gain followers in any platform that will allow him to come on. That's exactly what he is going to do. On the other hand, people claim they didn't know anything about Project 2025 during the presidential campaign. Everything that's happening in the country right now is in line with Project 2025's architectural design. I on many occasions, I made several videos about Project 2025, and I descriptively outlined them to you before the election, and you all told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Called it fake news, you said it was lying news, etc., etc. But this is what's going on today. And now, because people are angry, they're sad, that they have voters' remorse. Now they want to make sure that they come out and vote against the same political ideology that they espouse for. Why? Because economically, it's hurting them. It's affecting their economy. It's affecting their neighborhoods. It's affecting their families. When people begin to feel the brunt of policies that are not proportionally aligned with what they thought, now they want to complain about it. You can't blame the winning party for doing what they're doing when they told you exactly what they were going to do before they won the election. And Democrats, if you want to win elections, and I'm going to tell you something, you better learn from President Donald Trump how to win elections. Whether you like him or not, but you better learn. The brother is savvy, he's calm, he's cool, he's collective, he knows his audience. He's a mastermind. He's a genius when it comes to getting what he wants. Democrats, you better learn the same thing. Stop the whining, stop the crying, get off all these talk shows, stop the celebrating, roll up your sleeves and get back to work. That's what time is. That's the time. Get back to work. Keep your eyes focused. Keep your mind focused. Keep your head in the game. Now, you need to go back to the same constituents where you campaigned and go back and start holding town hall meetings and talking to them. Keep them revved up, keep them fired up, Do not become lackadaisical, because if you do, you're going to lose the midterm elections. The MAGA Republicans are not playing. They're going to pull out all the stops. The big time money is coming. It's coming. Any and everything is going to be said with negative connotations attached to it. You better learn to fight fire with fire. So on man Downey ran and won in New York because he went against the status quo. He bucked the system. He didn't go along with it. It's the same thing when you are a professional athlete. You can go along with what the coach says in the locker room, but when you get out there on that field, on the mound, in the wrestling ring, you're the one that has to win the game or the wrestling match or the football game or the basketball game. You're the one that has to play the game, not the coach. So keep your eyes on the prize. So he says he didn't know anything before he recorded the video and posted it on X, in which he defended Carlson as a, quote, close friend of the Heritage Foundation, end quote. Well, if he's a close friend of the Heritage Foundation, then you already knew what Tucker Carlson was going to do before he did it. We're tired of the lies. This is why people get tired of hearing the same verbiage over and over and over again. Why? You know what? You will come off better as saying, you know what? I'm apologizing. I'm apologizing because I already knew what he was going to say, what he was going to do. But those are not my views. Those are not my sentiments. Look, I let the organization down. I let the nation down. I let the staff down. I need to do better. How about if you just come clean and just talk like that? That's why I couldn't be a politician, because I'm too straightforward. I'll tell you what's on my mind. I'm not going to bite my tongue. If I'm in a debate with a political opponent and you say something stupid out your mouth, I'm going to cuss you out, Jack. Straight up. We ain't going by debate outline. You say something recklessly out your face, and I'm coming right back at you because I'm out to win an election. This is not a beauty contest. And that's why Democrats lost the presidential election, because you took everything for granted. You took black people for granted. You took the Latinos for granted. You got the progressive part of the party thinking that they're supposed to own the party and nobody else is supposed to matter. Well, how about this? You got a bunch of old people in the Republican Party that need to step aside, not just in the Democratic Party. Political politicians, career politicians, old, 70, 80, 85, 90 plus years old. It's time to go. You don't need to be there anymore. It's time for fresh ideology, fresh ideas. Listen, you can have whatever type of political ideology that you want. Doesn't mean I have to go along with it. Doesn't mean I have to respect it. As I've said before, you can hate me, loathe me, reject me, or despise me, but it's not going to stop me from having my own opinion about the things that you say as well. That's where civility comes in at. That's where maturity comes in at. That's why I could not be on any of these talk shows. Because if the talking head say something stupid to me, I'm going to deal with you on air. You won't have time to go to a break, because I'll get it out of my mouth so fast, you wish to God you never invited me on the program to begin with. So those are the kind of politicians that people want. They want strong men, strong women. Open up your mouth, say what you mean what you say. Don't backtrack on it. Don't waffle. Don't whine and cry. If you lose the election, concede the loss to the opponent, to the winner, shake the winner's hands, go someplace, start taking notes of everything that they do wrong, so that way you come back bigger and better and stronger. And you can win the next time. Every team doesn't win the football game. Every team doesn't go to the Super Bowl every year. Every basketball team doesn't go to the NBA Finals every year. Every wrestler, quote unquote, doesn't win the wrestling match and become the champion. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Know when to walk away, baby, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table, quote unquote. Some of y'all need to go watch the movie The Gambler with the late Kenny Rogers. You need to play that song over and over inside your head. And then you need to get some music that can really rev up your people and rev up your base if you want to be out there and win elections, instead of just sitting back thinking that all the proper talk and all the dignity and all the civility, if you don't respect me, I don't respect you. If you don't like me, I don't like you. If you talk reckless to me out of your mouth, I talk reckless to you out of my mouth. It's tit for tat. That's right, I'm that petty. That's right, tit for tat. Ain't no turning the other cheek. Ain't no asking for forgiveness. Ain't no apologizing. We are in a political war. All is fair in war. So he says Tucker Carlson is a close friend. He said that a chief of staff who has since resigned wrote the video script. Isn't that always like these pathetic, putrid bosses to blame everything on the underlings? Don't take responsibility for themselves. You won't put the blame on Tucker Carlson. You won't put the blame on Nick Fuentes, but you put the blame on an underling, a lowly paid staff member. And you fired them because you got egg on your face. You look stupid and you can't handle the backlash that comes with it. Some called for him to step down. Roberts, who holds a PhD in history and spearheaded the right-wing manifesto Project 2025, has moved the foundation into more of a Trumpian stance since he joined in 2021. Well, there's no surprise there. There's no secret there. It was already in the works. The architectural design was being planned during the Biden administration. They were the ones who were blindsided. They should have never ran Kamala Harris. And if they were going to run her, they should have made her fight for the nomination. Like anybody else, she should have went through the same process and fought it out and won it. You don't thrust somebody into the presidential campaign as the presumptive nominee for the DNC in the midst of the campaign. Seriously. If the now ex-president was not healthy enough to run, you just admit, you know what? I'm not healthy. I can't run at this point in time. I elect to gracefully bow out, and what we're going to do, we have to find a suitable candidate. That's how you do it. Learn, Democrats. Stop being entitled. Stop taking people and things for granted. Stop taking your voting base for granted. Stop taking your grassroots base for granted. You better learn to tap into this young millennial generation, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be consistently voting from here on out. And if you can't convince them through the internet, if you can't convince them through social media, I think that I should become a spokesperson for either party. For the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the Independent Party, because y'all need somebody to know how to articulate your ideas and look into a camera without looking at a bunch of talking points. Talk to me. Y'all need to come and hire me to articulate your positions for the upcoming midterm 2026 elections. If you want to win, I wouldn't care what side I was working for, because money is green. I said money is green. Money is neither black nor white. It's neither male nor female. It has no feelings whatsoever. Now watch this. He has said he will not resign his position, writing on X, quote, "I'm staying, I'm all in," end quote. Of course you're all in. You're just a liar. The Washington Post reports that, quote, at least 5 members of an anti-Semitism task force for the organization have resigned in protest. One staffer in the internal meeting called the issue her, quote, final straw, end quote. Anti-Semitism task force people resign. You know why? Because there must have been a lot of anti-Semitic things being said behind closed doors. I told you all before, and I'll tell you again. I grew up in the tough streets of Philadelphia during the time when the Italians and the Irish and the Germans and the mafia and black people were fighting each other and cussing each other out all the time in Philadelphia. Those who know me and who are in Philadelphia, you know I ain't lying, you know I'm telling the truth. Everybody went to war. You had the junior black mafia, you had the Jamaican mafia, everybody was out of their mind at one point in time. But you know what the interesting thing about it was? Just like there was a time for all that racism and bigotry and blah, 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 people started coming to their senses and sitting down, listening to each other and talking to each other to start getting problems solved. So we could coexist peacefully, yet still have our differences and respect for each other's heritage, for each other's cultures, for each other's ethnic roots and origins. That's why grown people need to sit down at the table of mutual brotherhood and understanding and get the government back to working again for the interests of the populace. Because if it continues to go on, it's going to drag on for a much longer period, and people are really going to be mad, and they're really going to be upset. Mass protests will be everywhere throughout the nation. Roberts previously called those speaking out against Carlson's, quote, a venomous coalition, end quote, a loaded phrase he subsequently said was a, quote, terrible choice of words, end quote, that caused, quote, justified concern, end quote, among those who worry about rising anti-Semitism. You know what, dude? You are speaking with a forked tongue. We have a right to criticize Tucker Carlson and his interview with Nick Fuentes. Who are you to tell us that we can't criticize him? He has a right to be criticized. Because if you would have had a black person on there who was spewing anti-Semitic words out of his or her mouth, y'all would have been all over them endlessly throughout the news cycle, day and night, night and day. There would never be a perpetual end. So why is there the appalling silence about Tucker Carlson's interview? Listen, the ADL should still be all over him. They shouldn't let up on him, demand that he lose his job, demand that he get fired, demand that he don't have a public platform. You can't have it both ways. I said people cannot have it both ways. Either you're against something or you're for it. You can't be in the middle of the road. You're either on the right, the left side, or you're on the right side. You can't come up with the waffling ways. So because somebody criticizes Tucker Carlson, now it's a crime? Man, give us a break. Fuentes, who used to be ostracized by the mainstream right for his views, including support of Hitler and claims that Jews ran the country, said on Carlson's podcast that, quote, organized Jewry, end quote, held outsized influence and said he was a fan of Joseph Stalin. Do you all know who Joseph Stalin was, the murderous beast? Do you all know who Hitler was, the tyrannical tyrant? Are you serious? Fuentes' appearance on Carlson's podcast has broke the right, with many seeing the interview as a further invitation of extremist views into mainstream conservatism. Guess what, y'all? News flash. Fuentes is not new to y'all. Y'all know who he is. Keep on. Keep on supporting people like him. It's going to cost you more election losses. Just keep on backing him. Keep supporting him. Keep bringing them all into the Republican Party, into Holland. We're mainstream. We're conservatives. Keep on. It's going to hurt you all more than ever. Just keep the platform going. Keep justifying the vitriol that comes out of the mouths of white nationalists. Just keep justifying it. Roberts said that while supporting Carlson, he disagrees and even, quote, abhors, end quote, Fuentes' views. Then why don't you condemn him? I said, why don't you condemn him? When Jesse Jackson used an unpopular phrase to describe our Jewish brothers and sisters during his presidential campaign, they were all over Jesse Jackson's behind. And you know they were. The news media would not let up on Reverend Jesse Jackson. The ADL didn't let up on Jesse Jackson. And that's why Jesse Jackson did not become the presidential nominee for the Democratic National Convention. Jackson could have been the first black president in America. But when he opened up his mouth to that end, and I wouldn't even dare repeat what he said, his candidacy was done. It was doomed. Go back into the archives if you want to know what Jackson said. The famous phrase that he used, quote, "Charge it to my head, not to my heart," close quote. Tell you, I'm a student of the game, ladies and gentlemen. I do my homework. I study for real. I'm not a pretentious individual. I'm a real studier. I'm a real student. I'm a real law student. I don't come before this camera to play games. It's hot under these little lights. I don't come here to placate. I don't come here just to try to look cute. We're living in very serious, perilous times in the world. There are things happening all over the world. But you know what? I'm an American, and I'm concerned about what's going on in our country. We all got to come together at some point in time so we can cohesively coexist in this nation. Whether we like each other or despise each other, hate each other or loathe each other, we got to come together with a commonality of mutual respect so that the economy can be strong, so that the job market can be strong, so that inflation can come down, so that people can take care of their families with dignity and decency, so that seniors and children can exist, so that the Head Start program can be funded, so that civility can be brought back to politics. Whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses. That's how it should be. It ain't no shame in losing. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Bow out gracefully. But people don't want to admit when they lose. Always has to be some non-plausible explanation. Oh, it was rigged. Oh, they're stealing stuff. They're pretending stuff. Quote, Fuentes made grotesque analogies to try to cast doubt on the murder of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust. And they said, quote, "I think the Holocaust is exaggerated. I don't like Hitler," end quote, Roberts wrote. Quote, Fuentes called for the death penalty for perfidious Jews and other non-Christians, stating that when we take power, we need to be given the death penalty, end quote. Are you serious? And y'all let him get away with this? Come on. How y'all let this man get away with this in America? How was he able to get away with making statements like this? Yeah, a lot of terms I heard growing up from the Italians, from the Germans, from the Irish, and even from Jewish people. Terms that they could use, but I could never use. And never have, and never will. I said never have, and never will. So how is Fuentes able to get away with this type of crap? Quote, everyone has responsibility to speak up against the scourge of anti-Semitism, no matter the message. Heritage and I will do so, even when my friend Tucker Carlson needs challenging, close quote, he said in a video posted on X. How about you come before the cameras with the Q&A and talk like a man and stop hiding in your executive suite behind your bodyguards? Is the problem with America now. So during a Q&A A portion of Wednesday's town hall, a longtime Heritage staffer identified by the Washington Free Beacon as Robert Rector recalled conservative writer William F. Buckley Jr.'s boundaries for the conservative movement, quote, expunge all anti-Semitism and, quote, expel the lunatics, end quote. Don't think I would just come on here and talk about that. Look, I'm looking for articles I'm going to be reporting and talking about news stories, even on the Democratic side. Because you've got some lunatics and some people who are out of their minds within the Democratic Party who don't know what to say, how to say it, when to say it, causing all kinds of divisiveness and confusion. Consistently, they don't get a break. Quote, and we have them back now, end quote, Rector said. Quote, the issue here is Tucker Carlson. Tucker's show is like stepping into a lunatic asylum, end quote. You know, I think I need a national podcast where I can just sit down and bring civility into the conversation once again and talk with people from all walks of life and repudiate them if they say something stupid out of their mouth. I wouldn't let them get away with it just because of who they are. That's the problem with talking heads. They're only concerned about that paycheck that they're going to get, and they don't want to offend the shirts up in the big towers. They don't want to offend their bosses. Well, first of all, I'm not going to sign a contract agreeing to being stifled and not having freedom of speech. Too smart for that. We're not going to do that. A full video of the internal town hall was leaked to the press. Some at Heritage have said the culture of infighting and leaking to media has eroded people's ability to have difficult conversations. Are you serious? Then why do you all say such insidious things behind closed doors and insult people in the manner that you all have and will continue to do? And that is done in confidentiality, and you're always going to get caught. That's the bottom line. Roberts has sought to cast the turmoil as a needed conversation. Quote, movements like ours are not weakened by adversity. We are sharpened by it. Let's take what we've learned. Let's recommit. And by all means, let's go win, end quote. Win what? What are you trying to win? More inflation? More heartache and pain upon everyday people? What is the agenda? More high food prices? More high healthcare costs? More demagoguery being spoken against minorities and people that you all despise and hate? And this Heritage Foundation, this think tank, they get billions of dollars, millions and millions and millions of dollars from billionaires whose ideology that they espouse because they speak for them. They are their apostles. They are their prophets. They are their evangelists. They are their pastors and teachers and lay people, all in the name of nonprofit. Wake up. Stop being deceived. Stop being misguided. Think for yourself. Read for yourself. Research for yourself. Make a sensible decision when it comes to political candidates. Don't put your faith in any man or any woman. Don't put your faith in any politician or any political institution. Put your faith in Almighty God and leave it there. Never surrender. Never quit.